Indeed. Oh, they look snazzy. Don't you?
I know, right? Please, I think it's turn us down. Great face. I know, right? Let's have a look. I thought, sure it was either Birmingham. That's in charge. Not at the moment, but now I know you're not. I see you about this find they're trying to find. No one's chasing me to get anything. But I was wondering if I to have my option. Yeah, Lizzie. Yeah. Oh, so perhaps that's what they don't need it anymore then. Fair enough. Well, I'll send it off. Yeah. It's
subject because we don't like to talk or think about death. And we
Hello.
should be planning ahead for our family. I don't want to miss a single bit of my kid's life. But if I don't get the choice.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? Sorry for the even quite a lot of people came. Very good, actually. 42 people. Very good. Okay. Today we are going to discuss about. Anyway, I've recorded the video, so in case for future issues. Now. So, how are you dealing? Is everyone is okay with the H3? Any issues you found out? Anything? Any problems? That's what we are mainly going to discuss about it, because in UHL we found some issues on the report side. That's not most of the things I work on the report side is mine. So, but I can't see any solutions. But I think from H side Roberto is there. I think so. Roberto, is it? Yes, you are here, isn't it?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Yes, yeah, Roberto is here.
So I think if well, what we're doing with in terms of issues, there are a few issues that we are aware that users have been reporting to us. So the developers have been working on them. So you can see on the release notes, if you go on the support release notes, you can see it, all the hot fixes we've done since we launched. So we kind of fix a few of the issues around. There's still a few issues, I think, with reports and some other things that the developers are working currently. So if you have any further issues, just let us know, and then we can tell you if we are already working on it or if we will be kind of adding that on for the developers to investigate a bit further.
Okay. Today, main thing is, like, I know you. We spoke this morning in the regarding an issue. I would like to ask everyone on the in this meeting, is there any issues you found or any major issues, so that you can from somebody from Edges here, so you can talk to them, or maybe there may be easy fix or something like that. So if anything, just you can talk now. Actually, anything you want. Any issues, and please raise your hands and I can just allow them one by one. Andrew, please. Andrew Robinson.
Hello. Yeah, I've just put the question in the chat, and it might not be it might be something beyond this. I'm not sure. So it's the what Matt and Steve built. On the finance side of things, the input screen has changed, and we can't use it in the same way as we were using it before Edge 3 came. I don't know if you understand what I mean by that.
Well, if I will say with that is with that tool is not developed by the Edge team, so
Yeah.
I think Matt and Stevie are updating it.
Right.
But
Okay.
yeah, on that one, I don't think we can do
Right.
a lot. Oh, Matt is here. He may be
All right.
able to save me on this one. Hello, Matt.
Hi, are you talking about the import tool for Edge 3?
No, it's no. Well, I believe that's still we're waiting for a new update from that. I read the email about that. It's actually when you go into record that a patient has been on a visit, a particular visit. Previously, all the different activities were defaulted to a tick. Unless we're using it incorrectly, at the moment they aren't ticked. So I don't know if that's just catching up with things or what.
That's right. No, that was something that we used to do with the Edge Assistant. Used to tick those for you. So in Edge 3, you've got the tick all box that you tick, and that will tick them all for you. So the plan for us was not to do an Edge Assistant for Edge 3, because the reason for the original one with Edge 2 was that there was a development freeze. So there was no new features that could be added to Edge 2. Now that obviously with Edge 3, there's going to be development continuing. The theory is that we don't want to start creating solutions that are later going to be overwritten when the Edge team make changes. So things like that, you can still with the import tool, the templates that it creates. So you would go in for a patient visit, tick the box to add all of those items, put the date in. So you don't, again, another reason the original concept of the Edge Assistant was to fill those dates in for you, because you used to have to do them all individually. Now you've got just the one date, so it will fill those in for you. So obviously it works differently, but Edge 3 works differently. But yeah, are there particular issues you're having with it other than that for
it's not me who actually uses it. I'm just sort of feeding back from what people have told me. I don't want to hijack the meeting if this isn't the type of thing we're supposed to be talking about, but I think one of the problems they had is that they couldn't isolate a particular visit. It was a list of all visits and all activities, and you had to go and find the particular visit to then do it a tick on each individual activity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I say, but it should be the case that because each visit is its own template, if you're using the import tool as normal, it will create a separate template for each visit. So you should be able to pick that visit from the list of templates. You get the little drop down list, pick that, and then you'll see all the items in it. And then it should just be a case of ticking the select all button, the tick box that will select them all for you, and then the date will by default be today's date. Right. So if you want to change the date, you just update the date. You can add, once you've done that, to add a visit, if you want to then add itemized costs, you can go in and pick an itemized template once you've added the visit without hitting save, and then add the itemized things, and it'll associate those with that visit as well. So
I've got a feeling I've got a feeling that we're not using it correctly then, from what you've said. So
sorry, Andy, I was just going to say, one of the things, obviously, I spoke to Tim yesterday, and I've obviously spoke to him, we were testing it earlier on. We're hoping to release the actual, I know the UAT is fine, but we're actually going to release the proper version this week. And one of the things I think that would be useful is for people to understand how to use Edge 3, because Edge 3 does a lot of the stuff that our tool used to do, but I just don't know if people are aware of it, like the itemised and associating it with visits and stuff like that, adding missed visits and how you would use that. So I think it might be just be a wee training exercise or a wee kind of webinar demo for everybody to see how you would use Edge 3 now.
I think it is.
I think that's what it is.
I think that's definitely the case we're in. So yeah, that'd be great.
I would say watch this space. Maybe next week or the week after, we'll try and do a couple of demos with how to use Edge 3 Finance. I think that's what people need to understand.
Yeah, that's ideal for us. Thanks very much.
Cool.
So Stevie, what do you mean you are going to release a small video of how to do the Edge Finance?
Well, I think it'd be but one of the other vids, if we obviously just do a video and we record it the way we've done in the past. I think with the way we've done a webinar, but I think there's some really good features in the way that the finance works now in Edge 3.
Okay.
If people understand how to use them, it'll be better. It's a big change, but a lot of the features that were on the Edge Assistant are now actually built into Edge 3.
Okay.
So it's much better.
We have started implementing the finance module now. I think I've put around 2 or 3 studies. I got some doubts. I think I will to come back to Matt or you actually and ask you about
Yeah, I think it's just how you need to learn how to use it. That's all it is. You just need to learn how to use it because it's far more efficient now.
Okay. All right. Next one is Camilla for Birmingham.
Hi. So I don't know whether I'll be able to explain it well, but before, we used to have an Excel sheet and we used to map that Excel sheet with Edge in order to import data. So, you know, like you inputted numbers of columns. Does that make sense?
Don't remember that. Import numbers into Edge.
Yes, no.
In
So
which
you
We're in
So
a
you
good
went
position to
to-
begin using this runners. It's far more efficient now, and then we'll be releasing it.
so you had I added a study
Mhm.
and then I had a column and I had to like map the numbers according to Excel columns. So if the project title was in column 1, I had to say in Edge that it was in column 1, and then I was able to import the patient data.
You can't do that anymore. You have to
Exactly.
download a template.
I don't know how to do it now. I'm really confused on how to do it.
Edge 2 used to have its own place where you could set up your own mapping to import patients and just put in the fields you wanted.
Exactly.
And you can't do that anymore. No. Sorry, this is Joe Greenwood speaking.
Yeah. Thank you. Because yes, I was struggling to understand which one
Thank
it
you,
was,
Joe.
but yes, thank you for doing that. Yes, is that for project kind of data that you wanted to import?
Yes.
Okay, so in H2 there was a functionality around that, but I think it never really worked very well. So we are still investigating on how we can add that into H3. So we are working on that type of functionality of kind of being able to update some project fields into H3 through a POC import. We are looking into it at the moment.
So how can I do
we
it at
used
the
it really
moment?
well.
Yeah, the same with us. So
Yeah, we
I'm
used
not
it
quite
really
sure.
well.
Because I have a new
Okay.
study now and I want to map it so they can obviously add the participants now. And I don't know what to advise them or how I can do it now.
Okay. But okay. Maybe I'm not understanding that. Maybe if you can email us or email me on the Edge support email, then I can look into it a bit more and try to understand, because maybe I'm not understanding that right
I already
now.
did.
Is
And
that all
you
right?
yeah, I did. You just directed me to Knowledge Base.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is this a site import? Is this the site import or the patient import?
Patient import.
Patient import. But we still have
Yeah,
three
the patient import still. The patient import's still there. The actual to import.
Yeah.
If you've got
we
a
still
patient
have
template
3
downloaded,
patient
then you
imports.
upload it.
So we have one on the management area, one on project level, and one on project site. So you're saying the management area, that's the one you're talking about then?
It's not there anymore, is it? The management one?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it's under participant import. If you go to management and it says last one down just above catalogue, you set the template.
Can you create your own template with the fields as they used to be? Because certainly in Edge UAT, it wasn't there, because I brought this up at the time.
Let me have a look. Participant import.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure under management there's a participant import where you download it, and then you can also, but that obviously imports them into that particular
Do
Yeah, we
you
can
do you
set
have
things up
to
there.
have a
Yep.
massive spreadsheet with like loads of gaps in it? Because the way we used to do it, we'd only got maybe 5 or 6 columns of the information that you needed to put in, because you set what column you'd say you'd
Yeah, I think that was the
yeah.
site import though. Was that
Yeah.
patient or
No,
site
it
import?
wasn't. It was
No,
patient import.
I
It was
think
definitely
now
patient
it
import.
is still there,
Yeah.
the participant import. But yes, now you need to download that import. And
Yeah.
but if you don't have some data, you can leave it blank. So it works similar to the other imports that we have around participants on the project and project site levels now. That import.
So now you
that
have
one of the
to.
management.
So now you have to download the import template,
Yes,
and you
and
have
then you
to
can
use.
import there. Yeah.
And you have to use that specific template, so you
Yes.
can't delete anything from that template.
You don't need to delete if you don't. You just leave blank.
Okay, and is it not
cells.
gonna give an error?
No, I don't think
Because
so.
usually we literally had like 4 fields. We had date the patient was screened, the patient type, the
Yeah.
site, and who it was screened by. But now
Yeah.
there is loads of columns, yeah. So if I literally just input those 4 things, 4
Yeah.
data points, then
That
the
should be
rest of
alright.
it is going to be blank. Okay.
I
So
think so.
okay.
Yes.
In the date, the person that was done, that's fine. But if you obviously mark out, if you suddenly put a date in recruited but don't put the person in, it's going to throw an error up there. But you only, as long as you've got the screen, just the 2 screen columns, the screen date and the screen by, then yeah, you don't need to fill in like consented or recruited or anything else if you don't have that data.
Yeah.
You just fill in the columns that you need.
This one we changed so it's consistent across the imports. Because on H2 it was kind of this management import was very different from the other imports. So now it's a bit more consistent across. So in the long term, it should be easier for people to pick it up moving forward. I think probably now it's a bit more tricky because you're used to the old way, but it's basically the same. You just download the import and then you add, as Stevie said, there is the minimum that you have to put is the one of the that screen pre-approach or that step, the first one, and the date and who to, and then you can import to the multiple projects if you need to.
Okay, and I just then have one last question for that.
Yeah.
So, now that because I'm on Edge now, yes. So I click the import and I will drag the file, obviously. But how will Edge know for which study that import is?
It does have when you to download the import, it has project title. That's the first column.
Okay, and Edge will automatically know that it is for that
project. So you do
project.
need to put that one, and it has to match what we have on Edge.
Okay, and I assume then that this feeds in to to that project. Okay,
links.
brilliant, and it has the patients and the statistics and everything then.
Yes, it will do exactly the same as the import previously.
Okay, okay, that
Personally, I've
all
always
makes more
found-
sense now.
Personally, I've always
Sorry,
found
I didn't understood that initially. So sorry
It's
about
a
that.
very bad way of explaining it without showing you what I mean. But Joanne did
Yeah.
a very good job of
Thank
explaining
you.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, just again, it's whatever you do. Personally, I've always found just actually going to the actual site itself that I'm going to import the patients into, and then getting into there and doing it. I've always found it easier and just a bit safer, to be honest, because then you're just downloading it straight to that file. But it's you can do it either way, but it will work just like as we say. You don't need to fill in every field. You'll be fine.
On the same topic,
yeah.
I tried to upload, but it was asking me for ethnicity, and I was wondering, is that something new? Because I've not been able to upload that particular data, because it wouldn't let me upload without the ethnicity.
We added ethnicity to the import. As far as I'm aware, it's not required unless you have like a collection plan that. But even so, it shouldn't be. So, I don't. It shouldn't. The import normally doesn't look into that ethnicity, so it shouldn't cause issues if you don't have ethnicity. Is that for what type of import are you doing? Is it test management area import, or is it on the project or project site
Project
level?
site.
Project site.
Site level.
Okay.
I left it blank. It didn't accept. Then I put NA and it still wouldn't accept.
That's the collection plan, because I've been building my own kind of test demo thing on Edge a lot of different sites, and I've been doing a lot of patient imports just per chance. One of the ones I've not done is certainly ethnicity or various things. I've just left certain things out, and I'm guessing that if the patient data collection plan is a force field for that, then that will be forcing that. If it's if it's a certain kind of study that's been set up in a certain way. So you're saying I want to capture postcode, not like if you want to capture if it's gender or whatever, then if it's a force field, then it's going to obviously be looking for that. So I'm suspecting that could be the case. I'll try that. I'll try it out just now and just see, just the way we're sitting about. I'll just see, Roberto, just to see if I can do this.
I think I have, when I tested the imports, it didn't. I could leave that ethnicity blank and other fields. So it may be there's some other reason for that we need to investigate a bit more.
Could I just ask one more question?
Yeah.
And I promise I'll go.
That's okay.
So with the mapping before, you used to, you had to make sure that you have different Excel sheets if you have the same patients.
Okay.
So just, oh God, I'm not explaining stuff, or am I? So you have patient ABC, and then you import that. But if you have patients F, G, and something, and H, then you had to use a different Excel sheet.
Okay.
So there is no duplicates.
No.
Is that the same?
Yeah. So in this one, because it has all the fields there already, you just filled in the fields that you would need, the columns that you need for that participant and that project. So you can have one line that is slightly different, or kind of you filled some fields in one line, but not on the line after that. So the rows
That's not what I mean.
Be different.
That's not what I mean. So if I already have like 10 participants on that one template, and I import those 10 participants, but then I get 10 more participants, can I use the same template, or do I have to download another template? Because before you had to use new template.
You cannot. If you add the same participants, it will duplicate. So you need to kind
that's
of
what I'm trying.
clear that. Sorry,
that's fine.
I didn't understood that one, but yes.
No
With
more
the
questions,
imports,
I'll go.
say if you add to the same participants, it will just duplicate that on your project site. So you always need to be a bit careful with that.
Brilliant.
All right. Thank you, Kamil. And can I ask Michael Chang?
Hi, it's just a minor one. When we look at participants enrolled into studies and you order them, you click it and then it orders one way, and then you click it and it orders newest to oldest. When you browse to the next page, it reverts back to the first one. So that's a little annoyance, but
no, that is something we are aware of, and the developers are looking into that one to be able to save it, save into cookies or something like that during the session. I think that's kind of the issue, is that it's not saving the selection you've done, and then when you go to the next page, it's just kind of defaults. So we are looking into that one for the sort function on those columns.
On the same thread as well, when you go on a patient's profile, when you then go back to the patient list, you've lost your place. So say if I've got one that's 15 pages long and I'm going through each patient individually, when I go back, I'll be put back on page 1 when I was on 11.
Okay, I'll put that in as well for them to look at.
That's actually one that I reported, because I was trying it myself. I was actually doing stuff, Roberto, and I raised that to the dev team. So it is something that I've actually raised. So it's been investigated, and they're looking at a fix for it. Because when I was putting a lot of imports on and testing things out, I came across that one. So they are aware of it.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, the next one is Stuart Braverman.
Hello, yes, and my camera on. So we've had an issue with the workflow reports. I know this was something I think other people have had as well. In particular, one report that we use all the time. We try to download it, it seems to work. Then we get the error message that says Excel cannot open the file. File extension not valid. Verify the file is not been corrupted, etc. What's with that?
That it is something we are working on. So for that one, I have investigated that one as well. So basically what happens, it takes a long time to download the report, and then basically it times out that download function. That's why you're receiving the error message on the CSV file. So we're looking into that. So it seems that if you have a large amount of data on that report, then it's kind of timing out the page. So the developers are trying to kind of change that, or trying to see how we can maybe make things quicker on that download function for it not to time out. But I think it's because you have large amount of data that you want to kind of export to Excel or to CSV in that report.
Yeah, it just seems weird because we never did that in Edge 2. And,
no, it's yes, it's one of those, because one of those things on H3 we kind of rebuilt the whole reporting server, so the reporting area is a completely separate server from the database itself now.
Okay.
So it still needs I think a bit of kind of tinkering around in some parts, but we are looking into that one as well, Stuart.
Right. We don't have any idea of timescales, even approximate.
It's been added to this sprint, so hopefully in the next few days we will be able to the investigation, to the fix, to the testing, and then on the next release we hopefully will be there. But if you talk to us, we will let you know once that's sorted. I don't think I picked up your case, but I think someone else picked up, didn't it, and emailed you about it.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next, Joanna Greenwood.
Oh, hi. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Study involvement. In the Edge knowledge pages, it says that you can remove your organisation from a study, but the button's missing when you actually go into Edge 3. Because some organisations will directly add you to a study, and you don't want involvement in that project, so you want to remove yourself. Well, I'm currently unable to do that because it's just not there.
Yes, I think that it's also something someone has reported to us, so I think we are already investigating that one. Okay. I don't think I picked that one specifically, but I think with one of my colleagues did mention that on one of our meetings. So I think it's already being seen to kind of be able to display that button again.
Right. Okay, lovely. Okay, so the next one, I've got a few. On the notes tab, when UAT came out, we had a discussion locally about and put it forward about the filter facility. So you can now filter notes within the actual study, but being able to filter by the words in the note title isn't useful. It could do, well, isn't as useful as being able to filter by the information in the body of the notes. Is there any possibility that we could do that? Have a filter there for that as well, so people could search for, like a word or a group of words that might appear several times within.
With that one, what I can say is I will put your suggestion on our roadmap to be looked at. But I'm not sure at the moment until we kind of investigate a bit more and see if we can actually go and look through, because then you want to look through the whole body of the note not just the title like we are doing now, isn't it? Okay, I'll make a note and put that on the roadmap for us to try to see if we can do that in the future.
Okay. The next one is about the audit reports. The audit reports were meant to be clearer and easier to read, so that when you could actually tell who has changed something and what actual information that they've changed. And looking at it, I don't think you can. It still relies on code numbers to say what has changed, so it doesn't necessarily give you the name of the field that has changed, or indeed the written information that has been changed in that field, or by whom, quoting their name. We don't know what.
I think the name is there. The name of the person that changes there, and
okay, but it doesn't say what they've changed.
It's still. I think if you put that on table view, I think you can see what was there before and what is now.
Well, I couldn't make head or tail of it, and I did look at it several times.
But yeah, I think if you can see that. Let me have a look. Maybe can I
it's more apparent.
This?
It's perhaps easier, please, but it's maybe sort of, you know, with the old attribute in the projects, in the forms and fields. That would be really useful. I don't know whether, you know, in forms and fields, do they have an audit trail next to the question still?
Yes,
I guess that would cover
and
that.
You also have an audit log now on each field of the core details, so you can see that there who changed it.
You can.
So you don't need to go to the audit log to see that audit information anymore. So on the projects, if you have a button on the top that says audit mode, so if you click there, you can click on the field and see who changed and what they changed.
Right.
So you can see it through there.
That's good. The audit report, though, it's if you could have a look at that, that would be good. Okay. Participant event notifications. So they don't tell you or take you to the participant. So you can see the notification, but you can't see which participant it was that's had the event. So if you're not the person who entered the event, you don't know who it is, and you used to take you to it as an administrator.
With that one, that's a safety event, isn't it now on H3?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
It is. Yes.
So with that one, I think you need to have clinical permissions to see that information of the participant. I think I may need to go back and see it, but I think that's what I'm on my head. That's what it's saying to me.
Right.
About that. With that one as well, before the report was under management, which shouldn't really be there. Now it's under actual report, so you cannot go from that report into the participant as you used to do on H2, but it's because now that's an actual report, and before it was kind of done in a different way for that. So it may also be partly that, because it changed from being on management, and there you could kind of add and alter the participant event details, and now it's a report, so you need to go inside the actual project site and under the participant to get to it. But it's just going to be a bit more secure.
Right. Okay. So it's basically so that people who shouldn't be accessing the patient area
kind of avoid
cannot.
having any.
So that won't change then, will it?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Right. I've got two more. I'm nearly there. Email notifications. We used to get an email notification when you'd been added to a study, you still get them. But in Edge 2, the email used to include the name of the person who added you to the study. which was really useful, I found, because if I had any queries, I could go straight to them. You know, I've got people who are, you know, who add studies to Edge for me, but I like to go and check up that they've done it correctly. Do you know what I mean? And if there is an issue, it's who. So yeah.
Okay, I will make. I'm making a note to see if we can put that back on the email.
Fab. And the last one is the stakeholder tab. So if you don't own the record in Edge 2, it was still possible to add funders and sponsor information, but it isn't anymore. It was useful to be able to add it because quite often other organisations have left it off.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's another one that we have been that has been reported to us, and we are looking into that. I think with that one was because we kind of moved funders and sponsors from being on the overview page and into a different page. The permissions kind of defaulted to the normal, that separate tab permissions. So I think that may be the issue there, but we are looking into that one as well.
Lovely.
For the funders and sponsors.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Nick Ellison, please.
Yes, hi everyone. Not too many, just a couple of things to go through. I think Roberta, I think you're aware of the first one. So one of the most of the issues that we've had have largely been cosmetic or like user experience based, but there's been a couple. So the finance reporting, the screening numbers and registration numbers being removed from the standard finance report is causing us a little bit of problems because some of the sponsors are asking for it. We're going to try and do because the Edge generated patient ID is on the report, and I was going to look at doing the attribute report for a patient, but the patient ID isn't on that report either, so we've no way of
I think with that one, Nick, as I said to you, we are looking into that one because I did pick on that one from the support email. So what we had to do was, because on H3 we have more core fields on finance, so we have things like departments and account number, visit name, and I think a few others that are escaping from me now. We had to kind of have a balance of what we could display on that report. So we had to kind of remove a few of the columns that we used to have. So we did remove the screen number and registration number. What I think we will be able to do is, you cannot see them on the display, but when you download, you'll be able to see that there, that information, that screening number, and that. Not at the moment yet. That's what we are planning to do. Not at the moment. I think that's kind of the solution that we're gonna implement in that. So we're not gonna see that on the screen, but when you download, and that's probably what you want, you will be able to have those two columns in. I think that's how we kind of trying to do it.
It's through reporting. So it's only stuff that we do. I think it's only stuff that we do when we downloaded the report and sent it off. Cool. That's, I mean, the solution that we're very happy in finance for that. A lot of the other stuff is, like I say, largely cosmetic. So things like the number of results per page. So in terms of if you're looking for studies, looking at the number of users you have on a site, for instance, the ledger, which I'll come to in a second, there's a very limited number of results now where, like a normal, if you go on Amazon, it would say like display 25 results, 50, 100, show all. And it's just the things like I say, it's not massive things, but like if we're looking, so we have a very open approach to the amount. I know it varies by trust, but we have a very open approach to how many paid people we allow or give access to in our studies. So it could be up to 50, 60 people, just because we don't allow patient identifiable information. We have a lot of people moving between studies within the team. So actually finding people, like with the users, when the view or clinic, like enabling access, like give everyone on the list clinic access or not. Those checkboxes have disappeared. That's the main thing.
Okay, I'll have a look into. So if you can send us an email with those areas where you kind of think it would be useful either to have more results per page,
or just even the option
or
of,
adding
yeah,
other functionality into it, then we can look into doing that. I think in terms of the adding stuff, usually I think normally people will use Teams to do that. So when you add that, you kind of can say all of those people will have clinical permissions or not, because that you can kind of select that when you do it. But if you want to do that then afterwards, I can understand that
so
could be a bit of a extra work to do.
Yeah. And then the only one, sorry, I think I've got 3 very quick ones left. So the ledger totals on the finance tab has disappeared, and that is weirdly the most common complaint I've had. So it turns out that a load of our delivery teams go into the finance tab on the project page and just do a quick scroll down to the bottom to see what the total spend is for their study. So that sort of goes back to the number of results per page thing.
Yes, it is because of that. So with the ledger is because we had to change the paging system. It was tricky to put those results there. This is something other people have said to us as well. So we'll be looking into either trying to add that back into the ledger, or maybe having like an overview page on the finance where you could see those results totals, and maybe have some graphics in there as well. So we trying to explore what will be the best option on that one, but maybe it would be better if you have kind of an overview page where you have a bit more kind of analytics on that for you guys, rather than being on the ledger.
Yeah, we were quite surprised how many people were asking. And then just sorry, 2 more things really quickly. One is just something I've noticed. We noticed that in some of our reports that we built, the saved ones, when we were trying to run them, we were getting errors. And it turns out I don't know if it's the same for everyone, if you had the old MREC field in your report, it won't run it. You have to delete it and then add the new rec number field, and that fixes everything.
Yes, that is something because we updated the rec to rec, because that happened quite a long time ago, but on H2 we never been updated, so we've done that for H3. If you use that field, you do need to kind of do that manually, because we weren't able to do that on the background. We tried, but technically it wasn't possible for the developers to go and do that change. So if you find any errors like that, any of you guys, you know, if you have the rec, you just need to kind of update with the actual rec like it is now, and the report should run without any issues. I think there was a couple of people that kind of came to us with that issue, and we kind of said that to them, and the report were working fine after that.
Cool. And then the last one is just a question. It's not specifically to H3, I don't think. So I don't know if you're aware the one of the NIHR things that they're doing at the moment is the Year of Birth project. It's been mentioned a couple of times. I asked when North Thames did a demonstration of it if you'd been contacted about it, and they said no. So we, like I say, we give access to a lot of people to our studies, so we don't want to allow patient identifiable information. Is there any scope to put in the year of birth onto those, like, without having to create it as a form and go in?
I think with that one, that's a bit tricky. We have had kind of very kind of generic discussions with people about that. But on Edge, you have the date of birth, and so you can already kind of put that in. I know that year of birth, we can look into having like an extra field where you put the year of birth, but it's a bit, because we already have the date of birth, it's a bit of like you kind of trying to go around something that already exists. If it's kind of a national requirement, we can try and look to put that in, but that does affect all the other. It has implications on like data collection plans and reports, and it does have kind of larger implications. Even if you think, oh, it's just adding a year into the participant record, that should have been that difficult.
Yeah,
it probably isn't that difficult, but it has lots of implications around the system, so it has to be kind of carefully thought
I mean,
of.
so I think the thing at the moment, I think someone's like, there's a couple of people that said, you know, it's like so Stu, I think he uses a policy of doing the first of the first and then the year, which is great if everyone's compliant with it. And then I think one of the main things is that at the moment, I believe it's voluntary. So we're getting, I mean, I get an email once a month just saying how we're doing, and currently, so it's gone through our IG lead at the trust, and they basically said no chance.
I think with that one as well, it depends on what they actually want to report, because what I think they actually want to report is the age the participant was consented. So by the year of birth, you might have kind of incorrect. You will have occasions where you have either a year off, you may have a year off of what actually the current age of that participant is. So it may be that it could be the case that it needs to be a bit clearer what they actually want to get from that data, and then we can work with you guys to see what is the best option. But as I said, we only had kind of very generic brief discussions, and no one actually contacted us kind of with a proper plan and proper specification of what they want. So for now, we're just kind of leaving that on the back burner. But I think it's probably going to happen in the future. People will be more, I don't know, starting to look at that a bit more in kind of more urgently, let's say.
It's so basically it's been there's no, like I say, at the moment it's voluntary. I think increasingly a number of trusts across the country are supplying information. Like you say, it's not perfectly defined, so they've left it up to the trust to decide how they report the information as well, whether it's a date, a year, an age range. So yeah, I think you're right. They probably need to come back with some more definitive stuff.
Okay, Nick, can I ask Sally Parks, please?
Hi, thanks for organising this, Liz. Okay, I've already raised this with Roberto. So apologies, Roberto. It's not really Edge 3 specific. It's to do with the site status dates. We've had some scenarios where we've needed to open up a site again because of needing to add further patients. And then when we put the date in, we have to put a date of today or in the future, but our research manager is adamant that we need to put back the original dates that existed. So we'd like to put a request in that the dates can be in the past.
I think with that one, that's a bit tricky because Edge is designed to be a real-time system. So in theory, you should not be adding anything retrospectively to Edge. We know that that's not always, life isn't perfect. So sometimes you do need to add some retrospective data. With that one, it is the case that, yes, if you by mistake didn't add a participant into a project site, you will need to kind of reopen the site temporarily to add that participant into Edge. And I think that's how it also in Edge 2, that it was how it used to work. In Edge 3, or in Edge now, we do have the timeline, so you can see everything that is happening there on the timeline now for that project site.
You can, when it comes to reporting, it could, I mean, if it went across the different years, it could look like the study closed in a different financial year, and that's simply not the case. You know, in realistic terms, our research teams maybe don't receive certain information at the time of the lock of the site for whatever reason, I don't know. And we, you know, and in research, we should have the facility to be able to put in a date that is a true reflection of when the site closed, not today, because we've had to go and enter another X amount of patients.
Roberto, just for answering this one, I know the instead of reopening it, you can do using the bulk upload template, isn't it? So you don't need to really reopen the site to upload the patient.
No, you need to, because on H3 it doesn't allow you to bulk upload imports with sites that are closed, project sites that are closed.
Okay.
So
sorry, I think there's a couple of people
quickly jump in.
Yeah. Jen is here, so she's going to save me on this question. That's good.
I'm just going to jump into the timeline thing. You can put the date in on the project site overview page. Excuse me, and you can put it in as today. And I know that that's wrong. If you then go into the timeline, you can go in and then edit these. So if you do have to go back, you can go in and amend them.
So can you put dates in the past?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've literally sat here while you were talking, and I've just gone to make, because I thought I'm just going to check, because obviously with the changes between 2 and 3, and I knew you could do it in 2. I just wanted to go, and so yeah, so I've just been in. I have just changed it.
Yeah, when you highlight it, actually gives you an edit or delete button underneath it below the date.
Okay, I'll have to have a look at this. This sounds quite interesting. Thank you very much.
All right. Helen Wagstaff. Hello, Helen.
Sorry, I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you? Yeah. Okay. Hi. So I think I've emailed you, Roberta, about this already. We have an issue with participants at site level. When we add a participant, it doesn't default to the person that's adding the participant's name. There's on the status, so whether you're screening them, recruiting them, it's the dialog box is blank and you have to go and select the person that's doing it. Is there any chance that that could default to the person doing it?
When I tried that on tests, I don't know if you have. But when I tried that on the test, for me it is appearing me as the default. So I don't know, is that just happening to you? Is it happening to everyone within your organization, Helen?
It's happening.
Sorry, I was going to say it's Jen again. I'm just going to quickly jump in. And again, I've just pulled this up screen and done it. It should appear. If it's not Helen, we're probably going to need to ask you to have a call with us and show us on screen what you're seeing. Because yeah, so I've just gone into add a participant and it's got my name all over it.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's happening with my colleagues. I will recheck it and come back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, more than happy. We can have a call. What we'll need you to do is obviously add a dummy patient or something for us so that we can see what you're seeing, so that we can adjust. Because obviously, if it's one person, we need to be able to see exactly what you're seeing.
Okay, all right. Can I just ask, what is the default screen when you're looking at workflows? Because to me, and it's been raised a lot already, but it is a mishmash, and I can't identify. So when I first look at the workflows for a project, what's the order that they're being seen the first time that we look at them?
I think it's the date the workflow has been added.
Okay, I would say that's the case, but it's not, because some that are older than others are appearing at the top. I know others have already raised the fact that when you filter them, the ascending and descending sort of moving out of is sort of moving, but when you just first look at the workflows, it isn't always the date that they were added.
I don't know. On my one it is, but it because it's when I see this to save this on the added, the sort is going down. So maybe it's when you're looking to your sort is on a different column there. So you can see what is sorting through.
Right.
Sorry,
maybe it's that one.
I'm going to jump in again. Again, Helen, I think this is going to be one of those ones. If we can have a call, and you can show us again, because again, the benefit I've got of I'm going into things as people are raising them and looking at them. And again, as Roberta says, when I go into it, it's coming up. The sort is there. The most recently added one is the first one. The oldest one is at the bottom. Again, if we can have a call, I think that's probably the quickest way we're going to sort your issues out.
Okay. My last thing is under reports on the dashboard where it says my reports. Is there any chance that shared reports could actually be in that widget rather than having to go to the my reports link?
The that widget is just a quick button to the report. So that's basically it's the same as that button that we have to what participants if you have clinical permissions on any project site. So basically that's what it is. So it will guide you to the my reports, and then you can pick from the that kind of range of reports that you have there.
Okay. All right then. All right. Thanks.
Mock. Make it in 5 minutes, another 4 minutes, and 6 minutes to go. Come on.
Hi, yeah, just a quick one because I've been submitting most feedback through the CRN. So apologies, Edge team, for spamming you guys. But there's I think the two key ones that have come up for us by lots of users. One is that the bulk import for patients is now seems to be reliant on manager access as opposed to clinical. We're not sure if that's intentional because we try to keep those separate.
That one, just let me quickly step in. Yes, we are looking into that and being able to be clinical permissions. Then you will. So in the future, when it's with clinical permissions, you will be able to do the bulk of import. So the developers are just kind of fixing that now.
Okay.
So
great,
currently you have to have manager access, but we will change that.
Cool, thank you. And the other one we've been getting a lot of is in terms of like additional clicks to get through to stuff that was a bit easier before. So like the project search is a big one. I've seen it in the chat a few times today where things like Edge ID not being one of the boxes that's available by default.
Yeah, I think with the search, we have received feedback from various users around it, and we will be looking into the project search and trying to improve that a little bit, and maybe have some extra things pinned up on the fields and try to see if we can kind of make it a bit more user friendly as well. Yeah. But cool. Yes, there are other users have reported having issues with the search as well.
So, sorry.
Cool. Thanks.
Again, I'm going to jump in very quickly. Sorry, Mark, just going back one. The clinical access at project site level, I think it was either fixed last night or the night before, but if you now have only clinical access, you have access to the import participants tab.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for your time.
It's me now. Okay, so first let me start with the positive thing. In the report side, if you have a same attributes of two names with the two different entities, if you are added, and if you bring it into one report, previous H2 doesn't do it. It was giving a biggest headache for me. So this one you can add two names together. It works absolutely fine. It makes my life very easy, number one. So that's the positive side. So the second one is it's a request actually. Workflow report, if there is a Edge ID, it will be really good because we can marry the regular study detail with the workflow. Because even it's not displaying, I'm not bothered. As long as when I click download, if there is Edge ID is there, amazing. That will be really good for me actually.
Okay, so, we can on that one. Yes, thank you for the good feedback. I think this is one of the advantages of us having rebuilt the reporting server. So that's now you can have those duplicate things appearing and not breaking. In terms of the Edge ID, I have made a note of that for us to be added on the roadmap and to see if we can do that as well.
And this morning, for others' interest, I just want to let know. This morning, I raised a complaint about the notes report. If you have a notes like old notes, and if you do a reply after reply, the original notes will show, and any of the reply doesn't come on it. Actually, including the downloading report, it doesn't come on it. So this morning, it gave a very bad name, and I gave a report to people actually, because it's all the old, your reports are rubbish actually, so I don't want that one happen. Okay, so that's the one. And then the research passport, one of my colleagues raised it, because all the for example, GCP consent and CVs are fixed years, like 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, and those kind of things. For research passport, vary to person, project to project. So in this one, because currently we are not able to do the expiry date of the research, because previously we get start date and expiry date. Now we can't do that one. So that's the research passport. If we add it, it will be really good, because that's really very important one actually.
I think with that one, Vez, we are looking into having a proper way of reporting those research passports or honorary contracts into Edge. So we're looking into adding them as core fields at the user profile.
Okay.
So we are already investigating that.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
If it helps, but
that's fine.
We are still gonna see if there's anything we can do, because with it, you used to use the training module or to training courses to do that research passport. So we have done a few changes, and that's why it's kind of creating you kind of a bit of extra issues with this, I think, on this case.
And there's one more issue. Previous Edge 2, if we want to know attribute, which are the studies it's been added, we can click that attribute and then see on right hand side what are the studies has been added. Actually, it's not there. So currently we can do it or not do it. I don't know. I don't know, because I tried to look at multiple ways. It's not coming up. So am I not doing right, or it's not featured, it's not there?
We on H3 we don't have that in. We can look into if it's possible to add that on,
because to do some quality checkup, we do that one, because a certain attribute, we click on it and see these things should be filled in after approval actually. So just see which are the things blank and what are the things is not done, why it's not done, those kind of things actually.
Okay. I'll put that one again.
So last one, sorry, Nick Allison, sorry, apologies.
No worries. This is a very quick one, and actually, just as Mark was saying about the number of clicks things being an issue, worth highlighting the drag and drop thing to add files has been brilliant, obviously, and it's saving us loads of time. And again, just one thing, I'm not sure if everyone's aware, that's my cat, apologies, that dragging and dropping straight from Outlook an email straight into the file thing has saved us so much time. So, that is a very, very positive thing and does save us quite a lot.
Thank you for that. That's good. I will say with the documents, they are the same as H2. So you have basically a limit of 30 megabytes per file in there. So if there's any errors, usually the error is that the document is too big most of the time, or sometimes
the file is too long.
Yeah, I think that's probably on H3. We so far we didn't have that issue, but on H2, yes, the title name was also another of the common issues with files.
All right then. So it's 3 o'clock. So I think we need to close it. Thank you very much, Roberto and Jen. Thank you very much for answering patiently for everyone's questions. And there are a lot of positive things, and there are small glitches. I know that which can be overcome. And hopefully next month also we'll do the same thing, so that find out what are the things any new issues come up, or how to look, go around certain things. So meanwhile, some of the issues, what I found, for Research Passport, I'm fixing through my own way actually. So meanwhile, if you can fix it as soon as possible, it will be very good. Thank you, Roberta. Thank you, team, and thank you all. So next month, hopefully, I will do it bit early request actually. See you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.